I want to start with this question. Does Michigan State deserve the death penalty in your opinion?
You know, they call this community here the Happy Valley out in central Pennsylvania. This morning, though, it is anything but happy.
Well, reaction has been swift here on campus. 2 investigations underway.
There have been officials, coaches aware of sexual allegations against women. They have not disciplined players.
The NCAA is in turmoil. After years of controversies and scandal, NCAA President Mark Emmert has been ousted from his position, with his replacement, Bernie Sanders, vowing to clean up the league. However, he did the unthinkable. The NCAA handed down actual discipline. In fact, they may have gone too far. Baylor, Louisville, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State. All 6 schools have been expelled from the NCAA effective immediately for their various infractions, including cover-ups, sexual abuse, blatant rules violations, and even death. The abrupt announcement sent shockwaves through every school, every conference, but none more than the Big Ten, losing an astonishing 4 schools because of the expulsions, leaving both their short and long-term viability in question. The group of 5 football schools all took notice, and the next few years seemed to be an audition for them to be invited as replacements in the blindsided conferences, or even a chance for a group of 5 conference to overtake one of the weakened groups. The new president was quick to invite longtime FCS powerhouse North Dakota State to FBS, but he also invited one other school that was a relatively new program. And by relatively new, I mean they didn't even exist 5 minutes ago. After winning the lottery in the summer of 2004, 33-year-old office intern Jeremy Britton decided to invest some of his winnings in random stocks. Forgetting about them, he lived a lavish lifestyle until 2018, when his Candy Crush Saga addiction forced him to file for bankruptcy. During the court proceedings, he was reminded of his investments, which by then were worth billions, as he had taken flyers on some, at the time, smaller online companies, including Amazon and Google. Using his newfound riches, he looked to hit another home run to keep his money flowing, and decided the best way to make money was college sports. Buying an abandoned college campus in southern Pennsylvania, Britton rebuilt the school with a central focus on sports, state-of-the-art athletic facilities, a massive stadium. He even built a television network housed within the campus, just across from the new football field. Professors? Not important. Dorms? The players had a nice enough weight room. This school was focused on sports, and he viewed non-student athletes as nothing more than paying customers. He dubbed the new school Black Rock State University, home of the Gorillas, and, hopefully, a future powerhouse. Impressed by Britton's dedication, and in need of a distraction, President Sanders invited Black Rock State to join the FBS level in its inaugural season. However, it was at this point that Jeremy Britton realized the one thing he forgot: the coaches. Scrambling, he decided to take a shot at a former college legend for his head coach, the recently retired Deshaun Gaddy Jr., whose prolific NFL career had been cut short due to injury. Together, they went to every junior college they could find to recruit players to come to Black Rock State, and even managed to find a few players who transferred over from the recently expelled schools. Because there was enough turmoil already, both Black Rock State and North Dakota State would play out the year as independents, and would be settled into a conference in year 2. Unfortunately, the Gorillas would face one of the toughest schedules imaginable, making their difficult first season even more of an uphill climb, but with the upside that even a 6-6 record might earn them an immediate invite from a Power 5 conference. Never one to worry about the limitations others set on him, Coach Gaddy spent all of spring practice and training camp trying to build the team in the image of his early North Texas years, hoping his underdogs could be overachievers themselves. Our starting quarterback will be Kennedy Thomas, coming to Black Rock State out of a junior college in western Alaska. joining his high school football team as an emergency backup halfway through his senior season. He believed his 1-4 record would bring in some scholarship offers, but none materialized. With a decent arm but the mobility of the gorilla statue outside the stadium, can the son of a hunter provide the leadership in his first and only season as a starter, or will he be benched after week 3? His backup will be Zachary Williams, a former 3-star athlete coming to Black Rock from Baylor, whose great speed and throw power give the freshman tremendous upside, but his terrible accuracy will keep him on the bench behind the more stable Thomas. The most surprising part of this ragtag roster is the depth at running back. Getting the starting job will be Spate Nickel, who at 6'4" stands taller than half of the offensive line. Transferring over from Bowling Green, he hopes to make enough of an impact on the offense to gain the attention of NFL scouts. He also thinks Iron Man 3 was a Christmas movie, so clearly he's delusional. His backup is actually the better running back, and also his former high school teammate back in Miamisburg. Tanner Shellman might not be as fast as Nickel, but with much more burst, he can hopefully offset the inevitable terrible blocking. Behind them is Rico Owens, joining Black Rock after being cut by Georgia Southern, which somehow makes them our rivals. I'm not sure how that happened. Our fullback will be Dak Swade. Not sure how much of an impact he will have, but I'm willing to try anything. The wide receivers on this team are terrible, but fortunately, they're also not young outside of #1 receiver James Murphy, whose prototypical size and speed almost makes you forget he couldn't catch a Pidgey with a master ball. A local JUCO product, he hopes to set an example for the rest of the group, including Jordan Burney out of Charlotte, Michigan, Nick Jerian and his incredible 55 spec catch, as well as Owen Benfield and Terrell Reeves, both from Ormond Beach, Florida, and both wishing they had gone to a warmer school to be backups. The tight end group will not be capable of compensating for the bad wide receivers. Starting at the position will be Garrett DeFries, a big boy with great hands, great blocking, but unfortunately will be outrun by a toddler on a tricycle. A former bodybuilder, DeFries didn't start college right after high school and is currently 32 years old in his junior year. The talent drop-off behind him is rough, with Abudeker Omer at second string, whose speed rivals the running backs, but unfortunately, that's all he does well. At third string is true freshman Drew Landgraf, who, no offense, I hope is never our starter. The offensive line isn't the worst position group on the team, but that's like being the milk that only expired 6 weeks ago instead of 8. The anchors of the line will be the Miller twins, Luke and Zach. The former third stringers at Louisville, these two will hopefully keep the running game going, as the rest of the line isn't as good. At left tackle is team captain Trey Monroe, who might be our best O-lineman, but he's a senior, so he's already peaked. The guard positions are terrible, I'm not even mentioning them by name, but our backup right tackle Jamarcus Hines is pretty good, and he will slide over to right guard for us. At defensive end, we have LaMichael Owen, the younger brother of North Texas left tackle Austin Owen. Growing up with a single mother, the Owen brothers' competitive fire led to a loving rivalry between the two, as Austin served as the family protector, while LaMichael viewed himself as a fighter. While the eldest Owen headed off to North Texas to begin a legendary career, the fighting spirit of the little brother landed him in trouble. Initially a 4-star defensive end, LaMichael's trajectory was altered after a huge physical confrontation with a teammate that landed the teammate in the hospital, while Owen ended up serving time in juvie. With red flags galore, no FBS team would touch him, making him a perfect target for the desperate gorillas. Opposite him will be Sully Blackman, who may or may not be related to former WWF Hardcore champion Steve Blackman. In the middle of our line, we have Frank St. Martin, our best overall player who is being groomed to start for Penn State, and Kenny Beardman, who may not be the best overall player, but he does have a tremendous beard. The linebackers are really where this roster shows its flaws. The outside linebackers are pretty solid, led by former Toledo special teamer Zach McMiller, no relation to the offensive lineman. While he is undersized at barely 6 feet and 218 pounds, he is more than capable of making big plays when his number is called. At right outside linebacker is Brendan Ginsberg, who is not only related to the North Texas center, they're the same person. No, I won't explain it. Our middle linebackers are terrible, led by senior Omar Martinez and backed up by junior Rob Rose. True freshman Ashton Andrews will be redshirted this season, but only because he might be a diamond in the rough. The secondary of this team is definitely a high variance group, led by free safety Ron Santos, who transferred over from Michigan State, and Trey Arrington from Michigan. These two will make sure the back of the field is secure, and with great speed and pursuit, will be able to make up ground in a hurry. Backing them up will be Devin Erickson, who will also be returning kicks for us. And we have Andrew Thomas on a red shirt, who might be our starter in his sophomore season. Unfortunately, the cornerbacks are a different story. 4 of the 6 corners on our roster are seniors, and not good ones at that. N.A. Reinfurt and Dwight Schrute will be our starters, with Kenny Smith working the slot. Oh, I get that reference now. Sorry, I never watched The Office. Night Train Lane is our other senior, who unfortunately has not lived up to his great-grandfather's name. Jaden Miner is the only freshman of the group, so he will be catching a red shirt. And rounding out the secondary is Mamadou Kane, whose 78 injury rating means that when he does see the field, it will probably be on a stretcher. Also, our kicker is pretty bad, but our puncher is pretty good, so he'll be pulling double duty, if you care. With this band of outcasts led by a first-time head coach, expectations were anything but high. Would Black Rock State fade into the background, becoming yet another group of 5 doormat school? Or would Jeremy Britton, Deshaun Gaddy, and the rest of the team build a powerhouse from scratch? Well, there's only one way to find out. What's up, guys? I'm Shane, and please allow me to welcome you to our Black Rock State Gorillas Dynasty. Alright guys, here we are. Get hype. We're here. Brand new series. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I had a great time with North Texas. We made a powerhouse, a complete monster. And they're going to smash us this season, so I get a taste of what I was doing to everyone else, I guess. We're not going to get into any sort of gameplay today. What I'm going to do real quick, though, we're going to go over the recruiting board. But first, I want to go through some of the, the rule changes and stuff like that I'm doing. Because I want to make this dynasty last. Like, if this one goes for, 10, 15 seasons before we ever win a national championship, that's okay with me. I'm going to make this as challenging as I possibly can without it being a walk-on dynasty. Now, the first thing is what I think was the most broken part of the North Texas dynasty. We're going to start at level 3. We're not going to start at level 5, which we did last time, but the biggest thing is coach progression on North Texas was at fast. I don't believe it was fastest. I think it was just fast. We are on slowest right now. We are, we're not going to gain any experience. We'll be lucky to hit level 5 before the end of the season, especially because we're probably not going to win any games if, maybe one. Now, the reason for that, with the fastest progression that I had, or fast, whichever one, I was already offering 700 points. I had kitchen sink maxed out by year 2. Yeah, the beginning of the second season, that's how we got Roy Abrams. And then I had insta-commit before the end of that season. And now, it's going to be a little more challenging. I chose level 3 simply because I don't want to scout people and only get 25%. That is so annoying to me. So I figure with the slow skill progression, that's sort of the offset of it. Now, anyone here who is new to the channel, if this is the first episode you're seeing from me, first off, welcome. Also, please subscribe. But what you'll need to know is this is a sequel series to the North Texas Dynasty, which we just finished, a couple days ago. It's not like it's been that long. I haven't fully updated everything yet, but I imported the old roster. The faces aren't all going to match, so Emil, I managed to get him to look the same. Donald Smith, I think I made him lose 3 pounds, but he fits. But no one else really matches what they looked like before. Peter Smith I actually got, but no one here looks the same. Joey Millage, I need to update him to a 99 overall because he won the Heisman last season, and he looks like that. But this is just proof. I imported the whole roster. We're back. Yeah, even Michael Bonds, he's back. Now, the other thing I set up, the last dynasty, we started off at All-American. We're going right into Heisman from the beginning. I was smoking people with North Texas by the end. I shut out Ohio State. 99 overall teams, I was shutting them out. So Heisman is fine. That's not the problem. We're going to keep it 7-minute quarters, injuries, fatigue on. I still like the speed threshold all the way down at 0. I was going by the Operation Sports forums, their sliders and everything like that. They have it at 20, and they took home field advantage off. But I like that because it makes it more challenging for me. And the player minimum speed, I like the fact that, someone like Zach Weber, who was our kick returner, I got him because he was really fast. I want him to get the most out of that speed, but the same when we're playing defense, if I have a 72 speed linebacker, I don't want him to keep up with the 85 speed tight end that they might have. So if we get dusted from it, that's just more of a challenge. Now, what they also did, they adjusted all of the penalties, and I will go through and tweak any of this stuff if I feel like it's just breaking the game some. Offsides, they have it maxed out, and false start, they have it at 80. I feel like we saw a decent amount of false starts, but really it would be like one every couple of games, so I guess this makes sense. Holding and face mask, not much. Offensive pass interference, I've never seen one of those in the game. I think it's something to do with the formula and the RNG in this game, because they said something about it actually helps the running back by bumping up OPI. I don't understand. The kick return interference, I don't think they ever called this anyway, so whatever. Now, to fully warn you guys how bad this is going to go, with the North Texas Dynasty, I believe I started either 50-50 or even 60-40 sliders in my favor. With the UMass, the relegation league, we're on 40-60 sliders, although I think I tweaked a couple things here and there. But with this one, we're going to go with what Operation Sport says we should do. QB accuracy, 5. Pass blocking, 30. Wide receiver catching, 40. Running back ability, 40. I love that those two got bumped. Run blocking, 5. Ouch. Pass coverage, 25. Interceptions, 35. Rush defense, 5. Yeah, this is going to be rough for us. But the upside, apparently me bumping all the computer stuff up to 60 was also like overkill. So their QB accuracy is at 5. They've got a lot of stuff at 40, 35 here. 5 for their rush defense too, so even though we don't have very good run blocking, at least they're not going to be able to cover it as well. I mean, they really, it's funny the kind of work they put in over there. Because, I mean, it's like a 3 or 4 year old post at this point, since the last update. But they raised lower tackling from 50 to 45. And they felt like it dramatically changed everything. Like, I wouldn't notice a 5-point difference, but they did enough research into it. That's why I lean on those guys. A couple other things I want to go over before we actually start hopping in the games and stuff before I wrap up this episode. Again, if you're new around here, every single season, what we have, and I take your guys' input for this, the one player who was an underclassman, you know, the highest they can be as a junior, if they, like, ball out, just completely take over and dominate, are, like, clearly the biggest playmaker, whatever that may be, only one, though, I will change it so that in the offseason, when we get our training results, they automatically get a +7. So if they only get a +4, we bump them up 3 overall points. This is called the Deshaun Gaddy Award, named after our head coach. It'll be a little awkward for him handing that out, but he'll get over it. In year 1 of North Texas, he was a 67, 69 overall cornerback. He made the first ever interception, the second ever interception for us, and he was just shutting down the run too, just as a slot cornerback. So in the offseason, I decided he got a +7 because I felt like he would never get the overall bumps to match the production he was doing on the field. The other thing we do, and I went over it a little bit with Joey Millage there, if you win the Heisman and you are not a senior, then you're going to become a 99 overall player. All relevant stats will be maxed out to 99. So if we have a Heisman winner who's a sophomore running back, which is what Joey Millage did last year, everything, all his running skills, all his catching skills, all of that stuff that is relevant to his position, because I really don't care if he can throw the ball, but that gets maxed out to 99. Because if you're elected the best player in college football one year, your status should reflect that. I'm just establishing this now, just in case we get there, and you're like, why are you making your running back 99 overall? It's year 7. Just in case we get there. Now we're just going to take a quick look at recruiting. I throw 20 players on here in the preseason because you can only scout 20 people. I don't see a point in filling up my board with a bunch of guys I don't know if they're going to be any good. And I want to save some room for low lock guys. Now, the biggest one for us, we did find Jared Gunn here. We're second on his list. 3-star tackle, but a 75 overall. I like offensive linemen, so that's what I'm going to go after every single time. We also need a ton of cornerbacks because all but 2 of ours are seniors. So we're going to need to add some people to the roster. There's really not a ton else. I added some JUCO guys on here. It's going to get more exciting, I think, around week 2, week 3, when we actually figure out who are just sort of sitting there. But the upside of doing this versus the UMass relegation league is at least my recruiting base is good. I have Pennsylvania, and I think Ohio's a pipeline state. Whereas UMass, you're stuck with basically the entire upper portion of the country. We don't care about college football around here. I'm sorry. And again, you've probably seen it on the bottom a couple of times already, but whoever we sign for any of these prospects, if you leave it down in the comment section below, all you gotta do, leave your name, and if you have a preferred position and equipment, whatnot, and I will name any of these after my subscribers. So I've already actually got 6 people waiting on here. and most of them are pretty specific on position. So if you're adding and requesting, I've already got quarterback taken. I don't know if we're gonna add even one, but I will try and get you somewhere. If not, then I'll let you know when you can sort of let me know what other position you want to go for. But I'm gonna name all the prospects after people if I can fill it up. I mean, you guys filled the base roster up almost entirely. I cut it off because at some point I'm like, okay, this third string quarterback's never seeing the field. I don't want you just sitting there waiting to not see it. Now, I don't know why they're wearing a pink shirt in this, but I guess he's wearing pink right now. But we will be running the Clemson offensive playbook. What I'm going to do from here on out is I'm going to take this from my buddy Austin Owen. Whatever our new offensive coordinator, like if our guy gets fired, we're just going to take whatever playbook he runs. Defense, I'm running a 4-3. I'm not messing around with that. I hate the 3-4 defense. I hate playing it. I'm almost figuring it out in UMass, but I would prefer not to run that ever again. So if we get a triple option offensive coordinator, then we're running the triple option. Because what I have figured out is that if I use a playbook for more than 35 seconds, I'll actually learn how to use it and get good at it. But I've only ever played the spread offense on here, and I'm sure after a while with North Texas, it got a little boring. So I'm going to mix it up, make it a little more challenging. I'm basically going to make this as hard as possible until I drive myself nuts and say, screw it, 50-50 sliders, spread offense. It'll happen, trust me. But that's it, guys. That's all I got for you in this episode. I'm sure I rambled on a bit, and I hope I edited all that out. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please be sure to hit like down below. If you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get it delivered directly to your inbox every single time I upload. Again, if you want a nickname or recruit, anything like that, leave it all down in the comment section below. Everything you leave down there, I will always respond to, unless you are the trolliest of trolls. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Shane. I'm out.